Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to KingPittdawg Racing. I am just going to quickly verify this is actually working, so bear with me here just for a moment. As we double check it, we have had quite a few issues. The reason I'm checking is we've had quite a few issues with Alright. Alright, looks like we are live, so thank you everyone for joining us. This is probably be one of the shorter streams I do, unless I decide to keep it on during open practice here we're going to do this afternoon. This is the preview stream of our first event that starts tonight for the HECS, the now Hobby E-Racing Challenge Series, which was formerly the Holiday Exhibition Challenge Series. We've rebranded this year to kind of be more reflective of what we're actually doing, since we're doing this all year. We still kind of theme the races and such based on real events and holidays and stuff like that, and kind of run our spring and summer series around the actual spring and summer, and then our fall championship series runs throughout the fall and right to the beginning of winter. So that's a basic breakdown of our series. This is Gran Turismo 7 on PlayStation. I'm on PlayStation 5, PlayStation Network, PlayStation 4 or 5, depending on who the driver is or what equipment you have. Just a quick brief summary if you've never known anything about me. My name is Kevin, and I am a hobby e-racer. I run here on GT7 as pretty much my exclusive platform that I use. I created this HECS as kind of a filler in between the Gran Turismo World Series events that are put on by the actual PlayStation company, Polyphony Digital, and some other partners that they use. Basically, what we're doing here with this video, I wanted to go over everything that we're doing, everything you need to do to get into the series. It's really simple. This is an invitation series, so if you want to join us, we have a few slots left. I think we're going to probably have 14 maybe here tonight if everybody shows up. We'll have, I think, at least 12. But there's 16 slots in a room, so if anybody wants to race with us, you can come in and join us. You can watch it here live on KingPittdawg Racing. You'll be in my VR2, which I use virtual reality. So you actually the camera view looks wherever I'm looking, and you can see exactly what I'm seeing in my VR helmet. So that's briefly on me. Again, on to HECS. This is going to be the third season of HECS kicking off tonight. This is a full year series. It's going to be running from March 22nd to December 22nd. We run every roughly 3 weeks a race event. I don't call them races because our events are comprised of multiple races, which we've standardized into a format for this year. This year's format is going to be 2 nights per event. Or sometimes there'll be afternoons. It's usually Sunday evenings if it's going to be an afternoon. There will be a few. In fact, our kickoff this weekend is going to be Sunday afternoon, and the reason that is just to get everybody accustomed to being in here. So our new format for 2024 basically picks up where we changed things up for the Fall Championship Series last year. We're going to be running 2 nights, 2 days of racing per event, and our events are broken down. Excuse me, I didn't bring anything to drink down here. Our events are broken down into 2 parts. We have what I call just term as MRQ, which is main race qualifying. That is our first night of racing, and that will be pretty much the same every week, except for an event where we have 4 main races, what we call a quad event. The 4 main race event, that will have 4 qualifying heat races, because we'll usually be running those quad events at multiple tracks. So we want to try to get heat races in there so people can make adjustments and things like that, and get some practice in. So that's what the way things are broke down. Again, I term the first day of racing as MRQ, main race qualifying, and that entails qualifying, at whichever track is the first track we're at, or if we stay at one track like we're doing this weekend, we're staying, and next weekend we'll be here at Daytona. You're going to run qualifying, and then the starting lineup for the first race, the first qualifying heat race, will be based on qualifying, and that's automatic. I can set that up right here in the room, and it does everything for us. But then we reset the room, and we will be going on to where I set the grid, and we will set the race 2 and 3 based on the previous race results with a die roll invert. And again, I took the die roll invert as kind of a wild card from local short track racing. If anybody's ever done that kind of thing, you roll the die, and we're going to invert the field, whatever comes up on that die. So the rule is, if there's 8 cars or less, we roll 1 die. If there's 12 cars or more, or if there's at least 12 cars but less than 16 cars, we roll 2 die. If there's a full field of 16 cars, we roll 3 die. So, and then last year we were actually inverting the cars incorrectly, but we were consistent about it. I figured it out in the playoffs, and we kept it that way. But this year the invert will be +1. Okay, so for instance, if I roll a die, 1 on the die, it goes back. The leader, the winner, would have to go back at least 1 spot. And what we were doing was actually just inverting. So if I rolled like a 11, we were just going to 11th, but it'll actually be +1. So you would have to invert 12th place. Okay, if that makes sense. Die roll invert is pretty easy. We're basically just taking the field and inverting it for the number we roll on the die. And there's got to be, the way we were doing it wrong, because we never had a low die roll until like right in the playoffs, and I'm like, well, wait a minute, that doesn't work. I think I rolled a 1. we had 7 drivers, and I rolled a 1, and I said, well, wait a minute, that doesn't work. Hey, what's going on, Steve? Just doing a quick summary here. So the die roll invert, again, it'll always be +1. So if, say for instance, there's 12 cars and I roll an 8, the first place car will start in 9th place, and the 9th place car would start in 1st place. We just invert that part of the field, and the rest of the field follows in behind the leader. So that would be 10th, 11th, 12th would be just in the position of their finishing race in the previous race, and so on. So, quick explanation of the die roll. That's pretty easy. We will also use that on main race night. Most of our events are going to be 3 main races, but there are quite a few of single and double. And then, as I mentioned, we're going to have 2 quad event races this year because we got a lot of tracks we're going to be running at, and I want to make sure we get all of them in. So in the spring, we're going to have a quad event around the Earth event. That's going to coincide with Earth Day, and that'll be tracks from all over the world. So we'll start in Japan, we'll go to Australia, then to Europe, then to the U.S. So that'll be around the Earth event, and then I think I'm going to have a vacation event in the summer, late in the summer series, and that'll be another quad event. And again, we'll be going at a lot of these tracks we haven't hit yet in the series. So that's a basic understanding. Yes, sir. All right, so I want to keep on this summary here. So we've gotten through main race qualifying. So again, 3 races, qualifying, and 3 races. Our die roll sets our second 2 races, and that's going to be qualifying night and main race night. So what we do is, after the 3 qualifying races are run, the average finish is calculated, and that determines the main race qualifying. Okay, so main race qualifying is going to be how we'll start the first race of the main event. There's no qualifying on the second night ever. That's what we do with the first night, is actually qualify, main race qualify. So that's what it entails. So now, main races this weekend, we're having 2 main races, and it's going to be a little different in that these 2 main races are meant to mimic a single race, so there will be no die roll invert in between these the two parts of this race tonight. The only reason I'm splitting this race up is because the limits of the program, the platform we're on.
CBT meaning 9 p.m. your time.
9 p.m. my time, Makoto? Yes, sir. Yes, that's tonight. Again, tonight we're starting off 9 p.m. Central Daylight Time, U.S. So that's 1 hour behind Eastern U.S., 2 hours ahead of Pacific U.S. So if you can figure it out from there. One of these days I'm going to figure out what the main time zones are, and I'm just going to figure out what it is, minus plus. But I'll probably screw that up, so that's why I just use mine, because that's where I'm at. So 9 p.m. Central Daylight Time will be the official kickoff. I'll probably be in early.
Minus 5 UTC.
Thank you, Zippy. Minus 5 UTZ. Thank you. Okay. So that's something to remember. It's easy to remember. So minus 5 UTC. And we will be at 9 Central Daylight Time. So, okay. So Zippy, quick question for you since you posted that up there. Is not minus 5 UTC? Is that 9 Central Daylight Time, or is that just like we're just 5 hours off of UTC? Answer that for me if you could. Okay, so we've gotten through our first night of racing. We've got our average finished, and we set our main race qualifying.
Large city is in CD2.
Oh, a certain Midwestern city that starts with a C, ends with a O, with a HECS in the middle. Chicago. I'm about 75 miles west-northwest of Chicago, so
Well,
Chicago
this
proper.
you've concocted and you can't figure out time. LOL.
Hey, you know what? You can't do it all, I guess. I just don't know where the cutoff line is, and I never use that. Because, you know, usually things don't get put in Central Time very often. It's either Eastern or what, you know, or you're calculating it off of Eastern Time generally. So, okay, so going back to our summary here, our new format, again, we've got MRQ night, or what I'm just calling MRQ, and then main races, and then just main races. So it's MRQ and main races, the 2 nights of racing.
My time. Thank you. I stop talking now.
No, you're fine. I appreciate everybody mentioning stuff. Anybody has any questions during the stream, I'll gladly answer them and help you out. I can go into cars or whatnot. I just opened up a lobby just to reset some of the things because we're going to be, I recalculated, I figured out what it is for the 42 minutes. So the 242 minutes gives us 1 hour and 24 minutes, which is in kind of like mimicking the 24 hours of Daytona. So it's 26 laps in the Group 2 cars. So I'm assuming, based on what we said, we might get 20 laps in, 22 laps in the HECS cars. So we're going to have 2 classes of racing tonight. 2 classes of racing this weekend. And that'll be these cars right here. The Group 2 GT500 cars from the Japan Super GT Championship, I think it's called. Those are the 3 cars for the Group 2. That's going to be our main class. And then all of these wide cars you see here, these are all of our HSSR car eligible cars. So there's a lot of them. There's 75 of them built that I've prototyped, and they are very, very specific. Okay, I mentioned it earlier because we had people playing with numbers yesterday, and I said the horsepower is between 250 and 255.
Super GT, like the content creator.
Gotcha. Okay. So these HSSR cars, the spec is 250 to 255 horsepower. That is it. That's why I'm not allowing this car right here and the Porsche Cayman. Okay, and then also we are going to have the 2,800 pounds. Every car can hit 2,800 pounds. There's no excuse to not have it at 2,800 pounds. So that is the spec. It is not a range. It is not a minimum. The room will be set to minimum, so you can't be under it. But that is the spec weight. And then our hard line on the 616. Originally it was 615. And see these cars here, some of these cars here that are pushing the limits. I allowed a 1-point bump to go in there. So you may have to run like this Z here, the 08, and this Z here, the 07. You may have to run those with more aero drag to get the numbers down in the PP. That's the only thing you can really adjust that's going to affect the aero drag. And that is by design. These cars were running away from the field yesterday, and that is not my intent with this series. The intent with this series is to balance cars out as best we can. So I'll put these cars in very late into the series. Originally, I wasn't allowing really cars over 600 to start with, and we've opened up the field a little bit, and you can do that judgment accordingly. Again, you can run soft tires as.
is -5 and CST is -6 UTC.
Oh, okay, so gotcha. Okay, Central Daylight Time is -5. Okay, I gotcha. Okay. Okay, that all confuses me still. But anyway, just to kind of touch on these cars, it's again 250 to 255 horsepower should give you enough room to get all your points under and get under the
GTN
limit.
+1, let S add some letter in there.
Greenwich time mean +1, right? Yeah, I do know something about it, but I honestly haven't paid any attention to it for 30 some odd years, so. Alright, so these are our HECS cars, as we're affectionately knowing them, because it's easier than saying HSSSS, as saying too many S's or too little S's. Still got a couple things to figure out on these cars, but again, these are the cars we're running tonight. This is our event this weekend. 9 o'clock tonight, 6 p.m. Central Daylight Time on Sunday afternoon. Those are the official lobby open, the official start of the program. Going back here to our format and scoring. So, scoring-wise, all of our qualifying heat races are the exact same no matter how many we have. And we're going to have at least 3 and 4. All I'm going to do on the nights where we have a quad event is add another 20-point qualifying heat race. Okay, and as I had mentioned before, bonus points. The only bonus point you can get in race is a fast lap. Okay, and I've told people before, if you're going to choose one of these HSSSR cars, the HECS, get one that you can add soft tires to, because soft tires are going to raise your performance points roughly 10 points. So you're going to have to stay like under like 605 or something like that. And that way, if you have a problem, because there's no cautions in this except in our special super speedway events, if you have a problem, then you can go out and try to get that fast lap bonus. And remember, as far as the way the scoring goes, once you hit 10th place in the qualifying races, everybody scored the exact same 10 points. So 10th, 11th, 12th, 13th, 14th, 15th, 16th all get 10 points. So it doesn't change. But if you're running dead last, and we've got 16 cars in there, and you go out and have an issue, come in, change your tires, run the fast lap, and get that fast lap bonus, you're going to score as if you finish that race in 9th place. So because you're getting that bonus point, you're getting 11 points instead of 10. So that's just, there's not a big spread on the qualifying heat races. The object for the qualifying heat races is tuning your car, getting it better. I don't want people to think that they've got to spend 6 or 8 weeks or 6 or 8 hours a week practicing for these races. That's what qualifying MRQ night, qualifying heat races are for. It's just like local events. Guys don't practice, like local racing. They don't practice, go out and go to work and then come home and practice, for 3 hours. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then come Friday. No, they go to the track an hour before qualifying, and that's their practice session for the week. That's how I really wanted this to work for everybody. Again, this is supposed to be fun. It's not a job. It's kind of become a job for me like this, but that's not what the object of the series is. So, on to main race night. Main race night, again, it, depending on the event, will determine the number of main races.
A fast lap bonus if we do 2 classes tonight.
No, and that's
24/7.
That is.
I wake up to when I go to bed, and I never go to bed.
That's funny, Makoto, practicing 24/7. Okay, Steve, good question. Steve brought up. Does each class get a fast lap bonus tonight? No. Okay. If you're going to run the Group 2 cars, you're going to have an advantage. You're going to be higher up in the overall finish, which is how we determine our event points for the entire event, which is a separate points battle from points distribution from your race points. So no, that your average finish calculation, and your overall average finish. So for main race qualifying.
Just checking. Thank you.
No, I'm glad you asked that, because that's a good exclamation point. Because for tonight's race, basically, the only thing I'm separating is the 2 classes' overall finishes. Okay, so everybody tonight, if we have 16 cars, everybody tonight is going to get at least 12 points in the qualifying heat races, okay? Because I'm splitting it up. And again, it's going to be even no matter how many we have. Okay, if we have 14 people in the room, we're not going to have, we're not going to have 5 Group 2 cars and, 9 hissers. It's going to be 7 and 7. Okay, so that's why I've instituted this draft. So everything's fair for everybody, and the people that in the back get a little bit of an advantage. They can choose ahead of the people that are higher up in the points. So that's a very good question, Steve. I appreciate that. Again, the only thing I'm calculating as two tonight is going to be for our overall class results. So that'll be the same thing on the main race. I'm going to have basically 2 listings for finishing order, but the overall results are still going to be the same because we're determining main race qualifying with tonight's racing. So what we want to do, more like
field, of course.
Yes, and it should work out exactly perfect. All the Group 2 cars should finish well above the HSSR cars. So when we go Sunday, when we go to start the race, all the Group 2 cars will be ahead. So that'll be determined by the main race qualifying. And again, so there's the opportunity. You can drive the HSSR cars that are probably going to be easier to drive, and you won't have to run as many laps, and you have a good chance of winning or placing higher. But there's always a plus and a minus, right? So the Group 2 cars, if you run those, you're going to get normal points just like the HSSR cars for the finish each class. But the overall event total for determining main race qualifying average finish is going to be determined by the overall finish. Okay, the overall total. So that'll be our main race qualifying. So it should line us up with all the Group 2 cars on the front and all the hissers in the back. So depending on how many people we have, it's possible we could have, let's just say we get 7, okay? You're probably going to have 7 Group 2 cars in the MRQ bonus because they're going to line up 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th. So they'll get 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4 points. So then your top hisser cars will still get their MRQ bonus, but they're going to be behind the Group 2 cars. And I don't think anybody's going to run faster in a hisser car than they are in a Group 2. So figure that when you're choosing what cars you want to run. And again, this event and Le Mans are going to be the only 2 like this where we have the 2 classes running at the same time. Possibly the fall finale in the fall, but at this point, these are the only 2 that are in stone, is this race and Le Mans. And that'll be the beginning of the summer series. Okay, so that was a very, very excellent question. Anybody else have any other questions? I'll address that. But points, again, the main race events are our bread and butter. That's what we're going after. Again, the MRQ night is designed to allow everybody to tune their cars and get some points at the same time while doing it, basically. And we're setting up the starting order for the main race. So, main races, basically, our points, again, the event points are separate based on your overall finishes for the whole event. So all the races, the average finish, that's our event points. That's separate from our race points. And we get points for the qualifying heat races, as I mentioned, 20 for a victory, 10 for 10th. Tonight, we probably won't have anybody under, probably have nobody under, I don't think we could possibly have anybody under 12 points if we filled the room up. And I don't think we'll have the room full. So likely your last place finish in your class tonight's going to be 14 or 13 points. I don't think we'll fill the room up. If we do, great. Then it'll be 1 point less. So main races, when we have a single main race, the basis max points is 101. If we have a double main race, the max points is 50 for a victory. And if we have a triple race, the max points is 33. Our quad events, it'll be 25 for each race. Again, it's all a breakdown of 100. A little bit of a bonus, gets a little bit more, I guess, special, you would say, to win a main race that's just a single race. So that's why there's an extra point in that. And then our dual races, dual main races like we're running this weekend, 50 points for each. That's right at 100. And then it's slightly less significant to win a one of 3 races. So that's why there's 33 points for a win instead of 34. Okay, so that's 99 total for the 3 races. Again, these points, I've stolen these points from different series things I've seen. I looked at a lot of different not just racing series, but other type of point series too, points-based systems, and determined that this works really good for what we've got. So hopefully this will be a lot easier to calculate. So hopefully this will work out, and we'll have a nice tight points battle like we did going into the final races last year. And in fact, the final race last year, we still had like 7 positions up for grabs in points. So that touches on everything that we do. Again, main races are what we focus on as far as naming the event, but those will always be the second day. We may mix some things up because of scheduling on the double event that finishes off the summer series. But at this point, everything's going to be at least 2 nights. If it's a double, like a 2-part championship event, which we're going to have at the end of the spring series, the summer series, and then, of course, our fall championship, just like we did in our fall series last year. Those will all be double events. So double points, we're basically just taking everything and doubling it, except our event points. So our event points would stay the same, like they did in the series last year. So, all right. So that gets us the basics. Car settings. Group 2 cars. We went into practice last night, and I wanted everybody to kind of hold a hard line on everything so we could see how things did. But basically what we figured out through a little bit of testing is that all of the Group 2 cars here, like the NSX here, the GTR, and the RCF, there's only really a couple of things I need you to hold steady. Okay, so if we go down the list here, tires, obviously. You can run soft or hard tires during the race if you want. Because I think these things are going to run out of fuel in about 10 laps. 10 or 11 laps. Okay? So you can run softs if you want to switch over to softs. You can do that. Go for that fast lap bonus. Again, that'll be active tonight, the fast lap bonus. You're likely not going to get a fast lap bonus in a hisser. Okay? so it wouldn't be probably beneficial to change into soft tires on those. But again, racing medium tires, the HECS spec tire across the board here on the GT7 platform. So you can adjust the body height adjustment how you wish. The anti-roll bar, since there's no center, you can adjust 5 or 6, whichever you're more comfortable with.
You will need to pit.
Yep. And then these 3 items I'm asking you to leave right at the center mark, okay? And that's your damping and your natural frequency, both types of damping and your natural frequency. I drove these cars last night, everything but the GTR, and they drive pretty good at these numbers. You can set your camber angle, toe angle, your differential, but I do want to see 750 on the front and 1,000 on the rear on the downforce on all 3 cars. Really simple. Those are the only 4 things, I guess it is, technical that I'm saying. You have to keep steady. Everything else you can adjust. Brake balance over here. Just make sure that your transmission is on normal. For some reason, I don't know if I had gone in there and bought them. Maybe I did, and bought the fully customizable racing transmission. But just put your transmission on normal. They're pretty even. So we ran them last night, and I think it's going to be good racing on the Group 2 cars if we keep these settings here. But just don't mess with the suspension. That's the only thing I'm asking. Just keep those the compression ratios and your frequency on your shocks. Leave that. Think of it as we're handing you a spec shock, right? So that's what we want. Okay, just like the aero, we're dictating the aero on the car based on balance of performance. These cars are all within like 2 points of each other for the performance points, so they should be pretty even depending on how you drive them. And again, that works for the Acura, that works for the Lexus, or Honda NSX, excuse me. The Lexus here is the same, 750 and 1,000. Again, lock these in if you could. These things, you can do 5 or 6 on the anti-roll bar since there is technically no center. I just have you put that on the center. But again, you can adjust your body height, your negative camber angle, your toe, your brake, your differential, and then your brake balance. So I'm just going to go into the Nissan just to show you that all of them are the same. So again, if we weren't running 2 classes, I wouldn't have to specify these because we would just hit it as BOP, and the system wouldn't even let us have as many adjustments as we're getting this way. We're getting more adjustment doing it this way with 2 classes.
Screenshot take.
Excellent. Excellent. Yeah. If anybody wants to take a screenshot while you're watching this, just scroll back and go over that and screenshot that. I have already posted that up in the PlayStation Network chat. I'm going to also post all of this stuff. I'm trying to update the Facebook because I hadn't actually been on it since before we finished the series last year. So there's that. Now the HECS cars. I wanted to touch on a couple of these heavy hitters here, and I went into those yesterday. This one here particularly, this one barely gets in under the spec, and the only way I want to see this done, I want to go through this. Okay, quick to step back. On the HECS cars here, I'm basically giving you everything again except, excuse me, anti-roll bar. Again, we can't get the center, so you can adjust that. You can adjust your body height. Keep these all in the center, please. I think that's a good balance for all the cars because they're all pretty much the same based on the car. And then you can set your negative camber angle. I'm just going to put all these in half because I had just set them up as a prototype number. I had just set them all at the mark. Again, set your differential. You can set your fully customizable manual, but again, no individual adjustments. None of this, okay? It's just here. If you have adjusted it, go back in here, select normal trans, and then go back to your fully customizable manual. All these HECS cars should be fully customizable manuals. The reason is it's a little bit more limited than the racing transmission in that you get the number of gears that the car actually had. So that's what I wanted to retain, is as close to the standard transmission as we could on the car. So again, you can set your arrow. My suggestion here, and then this is where you got to watch it on this car, because see, I just dropped it there, but now when I reduce the rear arrow, it puts it, we're still in the spec. So you're actually okay with this car where it is right there. What I do not want to see, these that we found, this one we had to actually run it at 95, and I mean you can get in under the numbers at 96, but it's not in under the performance point. So you have to run this one at 251 horse. I do not want to see any deviation or additions to the weight. The weight is 2,800 pounds, and that is the spec on every single car. Again, 250 to 255 horse is enough room where you can get a little wiggle room on these higher cars to keep them under the PP level. So again, my suggestion for everybody here at Daytona is get all the downforce off these cars. The high speeds are just too important to your overall lap times. So this is one of the cars. The other one, actually I'm going to go into all of them here, just so we can mess around. Let's mess around with the arrow, and I'll show you what the other Z car here. This is the 07. This is the 3.5 version. Again, you can set your set your body height, set your anti-roll bar, again 5 or 6. Leave all of these in the center. You can set your negative camber angle. I would suggest probably here, since you're trying to get rid of drag, is putting all your toes at 0. Again, that's up to you. I'm going to set all my cars at 0 because this is a separate sheet. Now this one I think I have to run, let me see here. Yeah, see this one we have to run a little bit of aero in it. So I think it's 133. Yeah, 133 gets us in under the numbers. So you're going to have to run a little bit of aero drag on this car in order to get it under the numbers. But I don't want to see anything. This is another car where you could conceivably run it under the limits at 72, but it's not going to make the performance points level. So we got to hit all the specs, and the only one I'm really giving any leeway on is the power, and that's because I can't get it equal on all the cars. But we can get the weight equal, so I want to see it equal. And again, Fully customizable manual. You can adjust the speed. I think 260's been good on most cars here. I'm not sure on 6 speeds. I've been driving the 5-speed Supra the most, but I'm going to do a little bit more experimenting and practice tonight. Ballast is 42 on this particular build, and then we're at 100 on the output. But you're going to have to run this at 251 horse, just like the other one, if you want to run any sort of aero on it. And like I said, you're going to have some slight aero drag on this car to get in under the performance point level. So I think 131 would still work. So you'd probably be okay. Yeah, it's very, very minimal off the bottom there, but we're about 10 points. Yeah, we can still do. Yeah, you could actually go right down to the number there, 124. If you wanted to run it like that, I'm fine with that as long as you get into that 616. That's all I care. But just remember, any of these high number cars, these high PP cars, you are not going to be able to switch to soft tires when you're racing these. And again, you're not locked into these cars. This is just the draft for tonight's race. And let's see. I was going to drive this car first tonight. I drove this one. Again, this one I had to play with. This was another one I had to play with a little bit to get under the numbers. I think, yeah, right there. Yeah, see, I had to put 10 on the drag, on the aero drag on this one. But it's 22 on the ballast, 70 on the restrictor, and then you can balance your weight front and rear out on this one if you want. We probably could. I think I had to put it all the way to the back to get, because that raises me up. No, it's okay there, I guess. There's 50-50, and we're still under the numbers, so that's easy to remember, 22-22. We're at 70 on the restrictor, 95 on the output on this one. Again, you can set your body height as you want. I wouldn't set them right on the bump stops. That's been problematic, but you can experiment, do what you want. Again, you can set everything but these. I want all these shock settings in the middle. So that's a pretty simple rule to remember. Your arrow is open on the hissers as long as you can stay in under that 616 limit. And again, you guys are self-policing tonight, but I will know the next time you race. So here's another one that's close, and this is the hisser version of the Crown. Oop, wrong button. So this one, I think I was able to do neck completely. Yeah, I was able to completely get rid of the drag on this one. Still stay under the number. Move all of our ballast to the back. And this one I was running. This has an 8-speed, so you can run a lower top speed number. But this car ran decent. All of them are running right around 2 minutes. Your faster cars are going to run in the 58s if you get a really, really good lap. So 2 minutes, 1:59.5 to 2 minutes and a half is a good number if you're practicing and want to which car to drive. So so let's go through. We're going to go through all these miscellaneous ones here that are right at the number. Okay. So I mentioned this car right here. The GR Supra RZ19 we cannot get in spec. Okay, it just will not work. But you can still drive the Supra RZ19, but you have to do the 2J engine swap. And the reason is, this car has an all-aluminum engine. Okay, we have to not only do the engine swap, but also add a weight reduction on this car. So let's go into that car, and I'll show you. Whoop, I keep going to the wrong button. All right, I'll show you the specs on this one. So you see that big green right over here. Right here, 2JZ GTE Supra. That is the engine swap. I think it's 300,000 if I'm not mistaken. Credits over in GT Auto. And as you can see here, that 650-pound lump of cast iron block 2JZ is a lot heavier than the B58 BMW-derived engine in the Supra. So you have to add an extra stage of weight reduction. Okay, then you got to put ballast back in it, and it's just 15 on the ballast, but then we run that power restrictor at 70 and the full control computer at 92. Now this car, it's in under the numbers, very tight, but I was able to pull all the aero off of it and then run it at 260 on the top speed, and it is working fine. It worked fine down in the infield in that. So there's that one. Again, you still get the 6-speed transmission with it because they don't. The engine swap. They don't really change out the transmission. So same thing. The '93 Supra had the 6-speed in it anyway. So that car gets in under the marks. And then let's see, we've got a couple more that are close. I think one of them is the Porsche. Where is that at? And I like saying that properly now that I've heard Feely from Germany. Here's one right here, the RX-8. We'll just go into this one right now since we found it. Again, this car, we're going to add in, take away our arrow completely and see what we can do. We're just going to find our happy place here with this one. 613 on that one. I think we're okay on this one. Again, you can set your body height how you want. I would keep them pretty tight on this. Again, camber, toe angle doesn't affect performance points, so you don't have to worry about that. But this one looks like, it actually was reading better with some drag on it. But again, the way this track is laid out, you're going to want as minimal downforce as you can because the speed at the straightaways is so important here. So again, you'll have to play with your transmission top speed, no individual gear adjustments. Again, we're not disassembling a transmission on site and putting new gears in it. It's not what we're doing here. So again, I'm trying to make this series as realistic as possible. And again, that's a air quoted term, but still. So this car will probably be faster even though the performance points went down because we took away the aero drag that we had on it. So again, you're welcome to set your aero wherever you want. Again, I suggest, especially the hissers with the 255 horsepower limit, get that drag out of there because these cars are... I would actually remove what I've been doing on also all of them also is zeroing out my toe because this will drag your car a little bit. That would drag your car as much as a little bit of aero in it. So, all right, so there you go. So there's another one that's right on the border, and then now you know how you can easily set it up, so you don't really have to worry about anything. The only cars you're going to have to worry about, I think this Z, I think this M3, and then I think we were safe on the Crown. It's really tight, but we were safe. And then, let's see, there's another Z down here. Let's see, 585. These are all like sub 600 cars. So these sub 600 cars would probably be better at non-high-speed tracks like this. Here's another car that actually fits in with the spec, right at the numbers here. So we're going to take all the aero drag off of this one. This is a front-wheel drive car, and again, Zippy has the Golf. I replaced the Golf with this car because this car performs better anyway. And it didn't have any ballast needed on it. So. 1 kilogram of ballast is absolutely nothing. So we can drop this one down. Let's do 101 on this one in the back. We'll give it a little bit more on the front. Again, set your toe and your camber where you want. I'm going to get out of it here for Daytona. And probably just use these as baselines in the future anyway. Again, you can set your differentials however you want. And your manual trans, you can set the speed. And we're at 612.97, so this car fits in under the performance points. Again, you'll be on only medium tires for this car. All right, so next car that's at that limit area, let's see. Again, this red Super RZ19 without the engine swap is not allowed. You see the horsepower rating on it, 245. That does not meet spec. So, let's see, what else we got? We got some more cars. I will say, this one last night, Zippy was pretty quick in this one last night, in this TTS Coupe. 592 on the numbers. So, again, keep that in mind. This car is almost dead on with that TTS Coupe, the 09, as far as performance points level goes here. And then this one here is right there as well. They're all pretty much equal. So those 3 TTs would probably be a good option for you. Here is one of the NSXs. This is the 02 NSX. And again, this one has a few specialties in that it only allows you certain wings, so you have to use the larger wing on it. I think this one, I'm going to drop this down. You're probably going to have to run a lot of aero on it. Nope, you can drop the aero down. I'm actually kind of surprised dropping the aero off these cars completely that they're not raising the performance points, but I guess that's just a little bit of a... So we're still in under the number. We do have to add weight reduction in this King. This car is almost in spec. It's about, I think it's about 100 pounds. So we have to take a weight reduction stage 1 and then add a bunch of ballast back in because the weight reduction is pretty extensive. So this one fits in, again, under the numbers. Again, you'll be stuck on medium tires, but you can get rid of that aero. Don't forget your ballast at 127 to get this thing in at 2,800 pounds. Again, 2,800 pounds is a spec. It's not a range. So that's your 02 NSX, which Adam has already confirmed with me he is going to race tonight. That is the one you see right up here on the screen. Adam is going, he has confirmed with me he's going to run that car. So we have one of the two 02 NSXs is off the board. I'm allowing 2 of each car tonight. So there's one more left, one more 02 NSX when we do go through our draft choicing. And JT had told me he's probably going to run Group 2. He has not confirmed that with me as far as I know, but I haven't checked my personal messages since I sent one out to him about an hour and a half ago. So just to confirm that coverage. So next up on the list, by the way, on choices would be John and I think it's Nook, and then Keith. John, Nook, and Keith. So everything's on the board right now. So you guys, if you want to let me know ahead of the race tonight, I did send a message out to John. I was trying to get information. I don't know if anybody's gotten back to me. I know people are working, so I'm not expecting people to answer me today. And actually, John is not running tonight. So, okay. Okay, so John is not running, so that's going to move everybody up in the draft order. So John just confirmed with me he's not racing with us tonight. Okay. All right, so let's find another one of these high performance point level cars that is questionable as far as what can be done with them. I wanted to address all of these on the event. Okay, so I see Demon out there at the track right now, right up there at the top of the screen, running this car. So I will have him check this video and make sure that we've got everything in spec here. Let's try to pull some aero off of this thing and see. I know he said he probably would want it, but yeah, we're still under the mark. So this car is right at 2,800 pounds, so he doesn't have to do anything to it ballast-wise, because this car is right where it needs to be. There's no restrictions, no additions needed. In fact, I don't know why I did this. I must have run this thing trying to do something with it. So this Porsche Carrera 993 version, the 95 version, this is the one HECS car I could make work in spec. This version here. So again, you may want to add some aero back in on this car just because these things are rear engine, so they're kind of a beast to drive. So I would probably add front downforce on if I was doing this car. Let's see if that does anything to... Let's just go up to 75 and see what that does. Yeah, see, and then you're not going to be able to do much of that because that took our number way up too high. In fact, we're going to have to go all the way down. Yeah, you can put one one level of aero in the front. That's pretty much it. So, yeah, affects it quite a bit because this car is so rear heavy. It's a 40-60 weight distribution, and this car has got, you know, a lot of torque. So, again, you can set your ride height where you want. This one I'd probably leave a little bit more leeway on the front, but yeah. So ride height, anti-roll bar 5 or 6. Again, let's keep all the shock specs in the center. And then I'm going through and resetting all of these because when I first did the specs, I was doing everything right at the slider. And these are right at the slider, so I don't know why the system generates weird rear tow rates on these cars. It's really odd because it doesn't seem... I know a little bit about setting up cars, and it just doesn't make any sense the way they do it. They do it like backwards, okay? Because when you think about a car going around a corner, the inside wheel actually is usually designed on most suspensions to turn farther. So when you turn your car one way, it pivots more one way than the other. Even though your tie rods are turning the same, there's usually something on that gives you that circulation on your tie rods and that. Because the outside, when you're going around a corner, the outside goes a farther distance. The inside goes a shorter distance. So usually the inside tire is going to be towed out, and the outside tire is going to be towed in, right? When you're turning. So say you're going left, your left side wheel is going to turn sharper to do the same amount of turning on the car as the outside does, because it's going less distance. So the way they set it up though in the system, it's always backwards. It's always like towed out. You wouldn't want to tow out, you'd want to tow in on the front, because you want, I'm sorry, they do it the opposite way. They tow it in and they should be towing it out. And then the rear would be just the opposite, because as the rear goes around, you know, it's following. No matter what, it's following. So you want that one to be towed in. But I don't know. I don't know. I'm probably saying that wrong, but if you can visualize what a wheel and tire do with your hands when you go around a corner, you want the inside wheel turning sharper. So, all right. Anyway, enough of that. Enough of my soapbox here about the game. Okay, here's our second NSX. Again, this one pushes the limits as well. But let's go in here, and this is the 92 version of the Type R. Again, we can set our ride height how we want. Let's just do 88 because we're at Daytona here. And again, I'm just setting these just so people can see that it still stays within the spec. Let's put these to 0. And I think these are ones I fixed. Yeah, so you want the front towing in and the out towing out. Yeah, so I don't know. It makes more sense when I'm not on a stream talking to people about it. All right, let's pull all of our aero off of this car and see what happens with the performance points. We're still within spec, so we should be fine here at Daytona. And again, 77 on the restrictor. My suggestion always is on these heavy one-ended cars is to move the ballast as far as you can to the other way. So you're going to need to add 40 kilograms of ballast on this car, and it stays within the spec, so no questions on this one. And again, the thing we're going to be playing around most of, I think, in practice and while you're racing is going to be this top speed, because you don't necessarily want to go to red line because some cars stop pulling before red line, so you're going to have to figure that out by your car. Alright, so that, I think, is the last one except the other Z car. So let's see, where are we at here? 600, 600, 605, 605. Again, these cars that are running about 605, high 605s, these will be good ones because you might be able to put soft tires on them. So just a suggestion there. These cars are all under the numbers. And again, I'll touch on this Cayman here. The Cayman, I cannot get anywhere near the spec. So if you want to drive that car, you're going to be underpowered, okay? But you're going to have to get that approved with me. There's more than enough other cars, so I'm still half tempted to just say that car's just not acceptable. It doesn't run anywhere near the correct size tires either, because the smallest you can put on that one is a 19-inch. All right, so we've touched on all of our miscellaneous cars that are pushing the performance level. So I think we've got everything figured out there. Again, these cars that are running like 610 and the 611 that I've got my Supra set at, and then some of these that are up there. There's not a lot more that really are pushing the limits, so you should be okay setting just about any settings that we're allowing to open on any of these cars, like your aero and your gear. So. Oh, here's that other Z car, okay? Here's the other Zs. For some reason, all three Zs, Gran Turismo movie, have a higher performance points on them. I'm not saying there's a conspiracy or anything, but it seems to me that whoever's doling out the money to GT, their cars seem to be faster all the time, so I'm just saying. Alright, so let's take the aero off of this car. That did fine. Body height we can set how we wish. I'm going to set the rear kind of low and the front not as low. We'll set, whoop, she jumped on me. We'll set 1.5, which I've been setting all these cars on. You probably could run like 0 here, to be honest with you, but 1.5 is going to help you because the infield's flat here, so you're probably going to want some camber. Probably don't need tow though. I'm taking that out of all of them. Looks like, I think this is a 5-speed, so you'll have to kind of use your judgment here. My Supra seemed to do the best when I set it up higher. And again, because you get that pull, these engines have, these 90s engines, all these, look at the torque on this thing, 300 pound-feet. So you might be better even setting this at a higher setting and not getting to red line because the engine's going to still pull. So I know Eric ran this car and was really fast in it, so I'm not sure what he was running, but he did say he was running out of gear, which is what's going to happen. We're limited to these cars. Some of them are going to be better, some are going to be worse. I drove several 6-speed cars, and honestly, my 5-speed cars seem to be just as fast. So, set it somewhere in here and play with it and see what happens. So, you'll be able to keep it under the spec. Everything should be okay there. If you do need to mess with anything in race to try to conserve fuel or whatever, do that with the controls that were allowed in the cabin. So your fuel mixture and all of that. So I think we've gotten everything. Again, just a quick summary. We kick off the HECS season number 3 tonight. In fact, it's in about 5 hours, 5.5 hours, a little bit over five hours. We'll be kicking things off. We're going to be running here at Daytona tonight and Sunday afternoon. Tonight, 9 o'clock, is going to be the official open of the actual race lobby, not a practice lobby, which I'll probably have up beforehand, by the way. And then we will be setting up for qualifying, and I'll be going through. The first thing I'm going to do tonight, when we probably in about 10 to 15 minutes into the, so about 9:15, I'm going to go ahead and run the draft, and I'll try to get it, if we can, up ahead of time, but we'll do the draft and find out who's running what cars. Okay? And again, it's going to be class and car. So I want to see at least one of every car as far as the Group 2 cars go. So you can't. So if 2 people choose the Acura, the 3rd and 4th person would have to choose a Lexus or a GTR, the RCF or the GTR. Okay, so plan on there being 2, depending on how many people we have. I'm assuming we're going to have 10 to 12 people. That's been my assumption from the get-go. So we're probably going to have 5 or 6 cars in each class. So I want to see one of each car. So once we hit 2 of a car, it's until we fill out the other cars, we can't pick that car again. Okay? And what I mean by filling out the other cars, which mean 2 of each. Okay? So if we get 6 people in and everybody, well, we already got Adam. So we get 6 more people in, and we've got 2 Acuras, 2 Lexuses, and 1 GTR. That other person's going to be, if they want to run Group 2, they're going to be bound to the GTR, because I want to see at least 2 of each. Okay? The hissers, I'll allow is up to 2 of them. But there's enough cars that everybody can probably drive a different car, to be honest with you. Now, again, we will wait if you want to build a specific car. If you say, okay, then I want to drive this one, we'll help you, because it literally takes 8 minutes to build one of these cars. We can build it 8 minutes. We can walk you through the whole process. I've done this so many times now, after doing this on like 80, 90 cars, that I can do it in my sleep practically. I just don't know what every single model has as far as the specifics on like the splitter, the side skirts, and some of the wings that are goofy on a couple of them. So, all right. So I think that's all we need to go through right now. We've touched on all the cars. We've hit the settings. We've gone through the questionable ones, so there should be no questions at all on this on the cars. Okay, I've got multiple videos on the channel here that you can go back and look up. HSSR, Cup Car, Craftsman Trucks we did way back, but it's basically the same build as all these other cars. It's just now we have specifics, which I can touch on before next week's races. We're going to concentrate on tonight's races today, and then next weekend is the initial RJP Memorial. My father Randall died back in December, so we did run one of our races as under him. But this is going to be an annual thing to kick off the super speedway part of our race weeks here at Daytona on the HECS series. So we're going to be running the RJP Memorial. That'll be a 3-stage race, so we're setting up the lobby as 3 races, but scoring it as 1 complete race. So the final results of the 3rd race would be the end race results. The first 2 races will be stages, so you'll get 10 points for first, all the way down to 1 point for 10th. Okay, and that'll be the 2 stages. That'll be your 2-stage bonuses. Again, we're going to have qualifying heat races next weekend, just like we're doing tonight. We're going to start off in our Craftsman trucks by qualifying in those Craftsman trucks. The reason and people have asked me, why did you do that? Because the Craftsman trucks, if we don't run the Fords, they're all going to be the same vehicle, so it'll be completely based on how you drive your lap. Okay, and then our first race will be based on that first qualifying. So when we get into the qualifying heat race 2 and 3 next week, it'll be the Cup cars, and it'll be die roll invert setup, just like we're going to do on all the other races. So I've simplified it. Everything was really off the wall, kind of pulling things out of everywhere, just to try to make some fun on that first season, and then last season, figuring out how we want to really do it, and we've got it now. We've got it. We can still tweak some things, but I think the points are going to be very good. I didn't touch in this video on attendance points and loyalty points for participation. Real quick synopsis of that. Attendance points, as I mentioned, our events are 2 nights. If you run any part of either one of the 2 nights, you will get attendance points for the parts you can't attend. Okay? So the event points, you would get attendance points based on where you finish. If you finished lower than everybody else, it would go from there. But the qualifying heat races, you're going to get 8 points credited if you attend the event at any given time. Main races, you're going to get either 80, 36, or 18, or 12 for a quad race. Okay, but I also introduced, because I didn't like the way things were getting separated when somebody missed an entire event. So if somebody misses an entire event, but then participates in 3 of the 5 events in any given series, either the spring series of 5 races, 5 events, the summer series of 5 events, or the fall championship 5 event series, if you participate in 3 of 5 of any of those, you're going to get loyalty points. Okay, and it's a little less. So for example, the event points, you're just getting 50, just a straight 50. Which, to comparison, if you finish 16th in the event, you'd get 80 points, 80 event points. But qualifying heat races, you'll get 5 points. Again, these are loyalty points. And then for a main race, you're going to get 50 points, 25 points, 16 points, or 8 points. So it's the fairest thing I could do to try to not take such a hit when somebody misses an event completely. And the attendance points give you a little bonus for participating. For participating in... I was going to call them participation points, but I knew what would happen having more things abbreviated as PP in these rooms, because we're just a bunch of immature guys, right? So that's why I named them attendance points and then loyalty points for being with the series. Now, caveat about the loyalty points, I cannot add loyalty points in until after the season is done. So the spring series, I would calculate the loyalty points. If you ran the 3 of the 5 races or 4 of the 5 races, whatever you missed, you would get those 50 for the event points, and then 5 for each QHR, and then however the main races were broke down, you'd get X points for those races. So it's basically half. Okay, half of your minimum points. So like I said, it's gives you something so it doesn't take a hit, because Nook took a really bad hit last year in the fall championship series because he missed a full event, and because I didn't have it in the system, I couldn't put points in there. John missed a full event. It cost him a lot of points, but these guys still finished in the top 10 in points, but it killed their chances of being
PP.
really... There we go. See? Exactly what I'm talking about. Show me your PP. Yep. Well, the PP on this car that I'm in right now looks like it is... it's really up there. So, anyway, so that's why we added those points in. The draft I put in to try to eliminate the ability of there to be conflict about who's driving what cars. I don't want to see a field full of the same cars. So I want to see diversity in the cars here, and then people being able to jump in a different car and drive them, a car they're comfortable in. That's why I built so many HISR models, because these are going to be our focus car in this series from now on. And then we'll have our cup cars for the special events, and we still have our Craftsman trucks to run for fun. And we're probably going to do an exhibition race with the Craftsman trucks in the dirt and the snow. So we'll see how that works. That should be some fun with the Craftsman trucks. We'll be turning them back into their native, what they're meant to be used as. So. All right, so I'm going to leave this lobby open, but I'm going to end this particular stream. And it's been roughly about an hour, I think, here. If anybody has any other questions real quick, I'll stay on here for a few minutes. If anybody else has any questions, please post them in the chat, and I'll try to address them. But quickest review I can do, again, tonight we're running our MRQ. We're going to run 9 o'clock Central Daylight Time right here on the GT7 PlayStation Network.
Did you check your Instagram messages?
I have not yet. I have not posted anything on Instagram yet. I've posted one Facebook post and corrected the room in Facebook. But I did have a discussion last night, Graham, and nobody's interested in having you come back. So you've made your bed and you have to lay in it, bud. You ruined your chances of probably ever getting back in this series, to be honest with you. And those who don't know, Graham is a friend of mine that I've raced with for a long time. He joined our series and ran with us, and unfortunately took one of the other competitors out intentionally, and both Steve and I unanimously banned him from racing with us in these particular series. So, unfortunately, Graham, there's nothing I can do. Nobody wants to race with you, bud. I'm sorry. Like I said, if you can get every single person that we race with to reach out to me and ask you to come back, or ask me to bring you back, I would consider it. But I'm not going to lose racers to try to keep somebody that's already been a problem in the series. That's your own deal, man. I'm sorry. I still consider you a friend of mine, but friends and business don't necessarily always mix together. So it is what it is, and we're going to keep going forward with the HECS as it is. So if anybody, again, if
anyone's names besides you and Nick,
I've got dozens of videos up there you can get names off of, Graham. That I'm not going to do that for you. I'm not going to do that for you, okay? You've been involved with these streams. You've got replays of your own. You can find everybody's. I've shared replays. You should be able to go on any of those videos and find everybody's names, but you're going to have to reach out to them. I don't think you're going to get anywhere, to be honest with you. But if you want to try, you can. I will. If every single person says, hey, I want to bring Graham back, then I will consider it. All right, so that's it for that. Again, like I said, I still consider you a friend, Graham, but I can't have you racing in the series and doing what you did. So it is what it is. And I think that's very fair to everybody, including you. So again, I think that's everything for this.
that's okay. Let's just forget about.
All right, bud. All right, so I think we've touched on everything for this week, kind of hit on next week. And again, just to summarize again, tonight, qualifying heat race 1, 2, 3.
They just want to be jerks to me. I am used to it.
And see, that's the attitude that is the problem, Graham. They're not being jerks to you. You wronged them, more than one of them, and then tried to play the victim, and nobody wants to deal with that, okay? It's just that simple. I don't want to have to be a mediator between a bunch of people fighting either. I mean, we don't have that right now. We don't have that since you're not in the racing. So we're going to leave it at that, okay? You calling everybody a jerk and all that. And I mean, you took me out once and you said you were going to do it and then tried to act like it was an accident. So no, it's not okay. All right? I'm just saying. I can't. I work my ass off on these series to try to make it what it is. I'm not gonna put it in the toilet to keep one person happy.
That was once.
Right, and then multiple other people have had the same issues, and I've done the reviews, so we're not going to go there. But anyway, enough on that. Let's go ahead and end this stream, everybody. You'll be able to reference this for everything we're doing. Again, Sunday, to summarize, Sunday, main race 1 and 2 will actually be scored as 2 races, but we will line up the second race as the finish of the first race. We're not going to do a die roll invert because technically we are trying to mimic the Daytona 24-hour race. So I think that's it. So I'm going to end this stream, and then I'll leave the practice lobby open if anybody wants to come in. I'm going to mess around with a few of these cars while offline. So if anybody comes in or anybody has any questions, I'll keep monitoring my my PlayStation Network. I appreciate the apology, Graham, but again, like I said, I can't go back in time and change things. So so if you want to reach out to me on the PlayStation Network. And KingPittdawg, again, I'll click up on this for you. KingPittdawg right there. It's the same nickname and ID. Just reach out to me if you have any questions. And if you want to join us late, no problem. I don't have any problem. If you can't make tonight and want to run Sunday, well, that's fine. You'll just have to take the whatever cars are available, and then also you'll have to be starting in the very back, at least on the first race. So, okay. So that's it for now. Thanks, everybody. I appreciate everybody for everything, everybody that's raced with us. Unfortunately, I got word that John's not going to be racing with us tonight, Hendrick Man. So we will have some more space. Anybody wants to join us, please do so. I'm looking to fill the field tonight. I'd love to have 8 of each car if we could do it. And I think that's it. Thank you all. We'll see you around. Don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, hit that notification bell. I'm going to try to be doing my best to try to bump this channel up this year, and probably also going to form a raw video channel because I have a lot of videos that I've done of just raw footage, and I don't have time to edit them, and some of them are 5 or 6 years old. So I'm just going to probably start another channel and just start uploading all those raw videos, and then I'm not going to be concerned about, if I snort in it or say something stupid, which is quite often. So so that's it for now. We'll see you around in a little bit here, folks. We'll be back on here in a few hours, and we'll get some practice in again, and then we'll start up our main lobby and get things rolling for the 2024 Holiday Exhibition Challenge Series Season 3. Until next time, KingPittdawg out.